What is up? How is it going? Man, this is another episode of Pancake Marathon. Well, just simply to say, are you ready to do a 180 and then start doing 360s? Because that's essentially the life of what I have to give. I am only capable of giving what I have. And let me tell you, you know, just to kind of give life. I oh have realized a new level of what is a zealot. What? A what? Right. Because sometimes all we need is a translation of comprehension, because that's really what we need, right? We want to comprehend the word serenity to know new peace, right? It's not that we want to stay there forever, right? I mean, in the state of happiness or sadness, right? Because those duality aspects of life are great. Everything's amazing. It's always in the sense of itself what a great day it's going to be. Because it's always a great day. We can all be all clever and be like, every day that ends in Y is amazing. Every day that ends in Y is my Y. So I get to find it, right? To be in the present. It's a present. That's why they call it that. And in a simple way of saying, yeah, sure, it's a present. So are you present in the presence of the now moment, right? Are you going to be the one that opens up that gift of who you are? You know, that an acronym of gift is God is forever there. Oh my God, I said God. Oh no. Those that have these unrealistic expectations of the past hurt that they have yet let go of, right? That hurt, that addiction, that hurt, the pain level that you're holding on to where you're just being Batman at that point, right? And so now, how are you going to accept and admit that you can't change that hurt from being hurt, right? You can go ahead and be whatever you want, but that's there. That is a marker in your history of who you want to be in this character of this duality aspect of humanity and all these kind of things, because I think science says it so poetically that energy is everything and energy can't be destroyed. It can just change form. And then when we apply the principles in all our affairs, right, what is that? Oh, that's anonymity, right? Let it be done, or don't say this is why you're doing it, just do it, right? Don't say I'm doing this for the fellowship. I'm doing this because I want to, right? That's tradition 6 upon itself, right? But then through tradition 4, 5, and 6, 4 is how someone carries a message, right? Okay, 5 is who gets to carry a message. Oh, and 6 basically restates or confirms that that fellowship is not other than a group that's carrying a message, right? But it doesn't say that you can be their face of their whatever it is, right? And yet I know, oh, I said anonymity. Doesn't that just mean that it is that of someone's name never being spoken and all that kind of stuff because they're the only ones that can break their anonymity, just like they're the only ones that can qualify themselves into the recovery? Sure. I'm not here to God shame you. I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong for how you think. I just have the ability to say I have a God of my understanding too, right? It doesn't matter if it started with a doorknob. It doesn't matter if it started with my shoes. It doesn't matter if it started with me because, there's points to where, yeah, what did I do when I first got into recovery? I associated myself as that addiction, that level of pain. And I condemned without a doubt that addiction. That problem was not that. The problem was how I went about seeing the value of it, right? Or how I communicated through less than humility. I don't care in a sense of saying of how refined and how dignified and how just beautiful I'm able to walk like a gorilla, float like a butterfly, and speak like a babbling brook. What does that mean? Walk with courage, be like water, right? Go with the flow, and then speak softly, right? Because there are so many points in life where it's just go, 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 go. But where am I going? Why am I doing it? If I don't have to eat today from you, like you're not going to pay me, right? I'm not going to do something for you in your image. I really am not going to do anything for you in a sense of I'm not here to go and be you. I'm not here to go in a sense of I'm going to do me. I am going to give you the raw, honest, magnanimous, absolute, authentic truth. Absolutely. I'm not going to hide behind things. And maybe that's just because that's who I am. That's the life that I put into effort in and manifested and about, you know, keeping my house in order. So then I can probably keep my side of the street clean. So then I can go ahead and zen my garden, right? To the simplistic aspects of itself. That, I deserve life. I deserve to take up space. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to know that my shoes fit just right. But I do not deserve to be another copy of you because I can't do that. I am incapable, right? Because I am me. Yes, there are points to where simply to say that maybe I don't want to be me. That's okay. That's cool. Okay. And what if no one else wants to be you? Right? Oh, so now you're being a version of you that doesn't want to be you. Okay, the same likewise aspect of, oh, somebody wants to be you. Okay, well, that's not going to be you. That's going to be them acting like they are you. Right? Right? I mean, right? It is. It really truly is. But, for it says it in that sense of, I try to carry a message. What message is that? Is it am I allowed to be the face of any recovery program? No. It says I carry a message. Yes, if I'm applying the traditions or whatever it may be, is to go ahead and not tarnish or steal somebody's ability to comprehend serenity or know new peace or any of these things or become basically the face of whatever fellowship it is because maybe I didn't speak right for them and then they found a new level of addiction, a new pain, a new hatred or whatever it may be. They resent me, they're angry at me. It doesn't even, I can't go to their degree of talking for them, right? And so, it even says, well, give me a moment, let me go get it. So, yeah, wasn't it a fast go get it, right? I mean, isn't a pause and play button kind of funny? Anywho, I guess I teleported. I guess I time traveled. What? You can time? Yes, we all time travel. Do you use the time? Well, then you time travel, right? But that's just me and my willingness to be like, why are you overthinking it? What is happening right now? You know, before recovery, in a sense of saying, I would go ahead and say, oh my gosh, you are a keeper. So keep on going because I'm not the one for you. Right. And then in recovery or whatever it may be, I used to always say, no, why'd you poke the beast? Right. It was resting and now you woke it up. Oh, it's going to hunt you down. I don't want to be a good narcissist anymore. Right? I don't want to act like being this alpha is everything because I'm not an alpha. I am a sigma. I will do what I want when I want, and I will not go ahead other than be a leader, a servant, a teacher, a student that stays teachable. You know, yeah, there's points where it's like I get to find serenity through the anonymity of my past hurts from you and just and it's not that it's unrealistic to be like, can you get a cloth and wipe up that dust? Don't sweep it under the fridge. Did you clean your broom, or are you just saying your house is clean? There are so many points, right? It's like the same as saying, oh, did you get a bidet? Oh, you didn't, so you're wasting your life essence in that sense, or you're just finding in a more of an empowerment sense, you're finding the value of waiting in a line when you could be doing anything in life, right? Really, you could, but you're waiting in a line, selecting the right kind of toilet paper when all you have to do is get a bidet. Didn't life already show us that that is not the way? right? With the whole modern day flu thing of COVID, whatever. Yes, I am being very authentic and real here. There are so many points. And yet, this is what I have to give. If you don't like what I have to give, that's cool. That's you. You don't have to take everything. You can leave it at the door, right? Right? You can you know, you have the power to do you. And yet, simply to say, on in guiding principles, the spirit of our traditions of NA, right? So on page 51, the last paragraph, um, for groups can't refuse an addict membership, but sometimes our actions or attitudes push people out, right? Isn't that kind of what inspired NA from the very beginning? Because that group from the Fellowship of AA, right? This is why Tradition 6 is such, and have, this is Tradition 6 in its absolute kicking in and all that kind of stuff, because that group, right, they didn't want outside issues, which essentially they didn't want anyone to speak other than AA language, right? Okay, so how many people basically did that group kill because they did not respect the God of their understanding? Yes, there's a point where it's, I don't know where it would be. Is it like an unspoken thing, or is it just an accepted term, or whatever it may be of group consciousness, right? Okay. And so, in that sense, maybe that's under tradition one. Who knows? And yet, simply to say that it comes down to that that group did inspire to kill how many people, right? Regardless of where they were at. That's living life on life's terms, and so it inspired somebody to create NA, another fellowship. So now we could say that there is like what 34-ish archetypes of recovery, and then there's multiple branches of of recovery itself. This is true. And so yet it simply comes down to, because like, okay, so I chair a recovery meeting online, right? Okay, so that's like a in comparison to this in-house recovery meetings that I do in the sober living thing that I'm at, or whatever it may be, and all this kind of stuff. I can I have full control over that meeting, essentially to say. Now I went from oh, I gotta do that recovery house's job to make sure everyone shows up to their recovery. Oh, you went to the bathroom at this time. Oh, I'm gonna take down everybody's name and email it. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh my goodness, it became a job. I lost the career aspect. Let me put that in terms of I went from enjoying it to, oh my gosh, no one else is going to do it right. I was obsessing. The whole character defect of control and discipline kicked in. And oh my good, I was in fear. And my self seeking attributes was kicking in because, oh my gosh, somebody's going to do it wrong. And yeah, sure, there's points to where back in the day I was chairing every meeting every day. Okay, I only did that like 3 to 4 times, but simply I say every day. Every Nobody else is going to chair their meeting. I'm not just going to sit here for an hour. It's like anyone else can get up and read. That's it. Oh my gosh, how many times have I said something wrong in the meeting? Oh my goodness, never in actuality. But there's points to where if I did not admit I was wrong and make progress, where am I at? Am I really a trusted servant, a leader? Yeah, sure. And yet, in all simple aspects of itself, I wasn't if I didn't do that. And yeah, I even asked my sponsor, am I right to apologize for the last meeting's my actions in that? And you know what they said? I don't know. So it's like, okay. And yet, in truth, the reason why it's not wrong is because I was making progress. I admitted it. Isn't that one of the steps? It is. It truly it is. Step 10, essentially, and all these kind of things. And yet, when it really comes down to it, how did I show up in my life? I showed up. I I didn't act religious about someone coming and save me. It's not that religion's wrong. It's not. Um, Because it has value. Everything has value, right? And it simply comes down to that I showed up in my life and just, you know, started selling lemonade. Because, there was that whole saying of, well, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Oh, well, if you get dealt a hand, how are you going to play it? Don't hate the player, hate the game, right? It's like everyone's just a player at some point. I'm just saying, for real. But each player can change the game at any time they want, right? So really don't target the messenger, don't shoot the messenger, focus on the message. There's also the simple fact of the matter. If you don't like something, what else are you going to do to create something to give forth through that of what? Attraction rather than promotion, right? That's really what it comes down to. And so there's this point of it all, right? Well, the point that I'm going to simply to say is that I, have this hurt because I'm letting everything pile up. I'm complicating it. I am, I want to do this podcast and I want to do these other things and I want to do the blog and I want to do this, but I also want to learn about, my life and the actuality of the world, of the real world, I would say, where the trees produce oxygen, not a fallacy of how we all agree upon, just, oh, okay, that's what it is, right? Oh, okay, right. I'm just saying to simply. Ooh. Hmm. Just simply saying, you know, um, there are points to where, yeah, there's a difference of the in-house meaning opposed to uh, an outside meaning at that point. Of there's group consciousness and all these kind of things, right? And so when I share this online meeting, oh my goodness, I'm like, I didn't want to do it because I'm so good at spelling for one. And so I'm like, what's your name? Oh, here's a name. Oh, that's not even your name. That's well, and then I'm all funny and clever and be like, oh, I'm only as good at remembering somebody's face or name by their face, right? I'm just saying. To this to a simplistic aspect of itself that sometimes it's just about showing up, and sometimes it's true that, oh man, I complicate so many things. But when I realize that it was never about complicating it, or was never about not complicating about it, it's just about showing up, right? Okay, so I put all these things in order, and now my priorities are kicking in, right? I'm just simply saying, right? Okay, so I can overcomplicate everything, right? Because there was a point in this whole blog thing that I was doing, of a daily reflection thing that I'm doing, of Chat GPT or whatever AI it is, and it's like, oh, okay, oh my goodness, you can go ahead and reword, in a sense of saying, or put this in this tone, and then, oh my goodness, go ahead and do all these things. It's like, whoa. Now I'm spending so much time on that. Now I'm not getting nothing else done. It's like, why? And then I get mad that no one else realizes this and all this kind of stuff. And it's not that they don't realize it. It's just that they have a life too. It's true. They have their own life and they want things as such as I do, the same as me, right? And yet it comes down to, in a sense of why I got inspired to do this episode of Pancake Marathon. Mm. To simply say, you know, um, it's about priorities, right? It's about realizing, okay, what's important at that moment. Living life on life's terms, right? Doesn't That's what that sounds like, right? Because it is. Of yeah, you want to do things, but did you put effort into those things before? And and it's true. It's all these it's all what can life be. Simply to say, it's without a doubt, and yet it's about accepting, right? Because there's points where even today, like everything's going on. It's like I get mad, and then I forget to just approach it as a fresh start, and anonymity, you know. Um, and so then I get complicated, and I get mad, and then it overcomplicates it because they can't see through the hurt because they're just human too and they're going through it too and they're trying to address this, but then think because I'm angry and I'm putting so much into it, right, that they miss a point. And then I get angry at them that they didn't realize that point or give proper attention to all the points because maybe they don't know how to do proper customer service or really know how to take notes or really know how to break things down and put it into categories just because it would make sense to. I mean, there's so many points. But for real. Um, and then, they have hurt and all this kind of stuff. But then it comes down to me. How do I get good for me? How do I find a way? Yes, there's that saying of being a zealot. Oh, okay, right? Oh, you look great, and you sound like you know how to talk recovery. That's amazing. But you're still going through it. You mean you still have parts to work on yourself? That's crazy. What are you doing in life? It's like, that's okay. Anywho, I'm just saying there's all these things, and it's so easy to make it complicated. And then there's that whole saying and slogan or whatever. It's all the same. Those two. What two that it's this is the simple program for complicated people. Right. It is. It's so simple. Right. You're supposed to practice these principles in all your affairs. All of that absolute upon itself. True. As to life is can be lifey. Life is as complicated as we want to make it. And we're only as good as when we're good. And sometimes it's challenging to be the bigger person or get off that high horse. As I would approach it, how I approach it is that I get off that high horse. I help somebody onto that high horse, and then I aim for the higher high horse because I get the absolute of someone has to do that, right? So here you go freely. Oh, I don't want this. Well, I'm not gonna accept that what it is because that's yours now, and I already know the pain level of having to deal with that. So here you go, right? I can walk you through it. Here's some guidance and suggestions. Other than that, and maybe in of its simplest aspect in recovery, there's no advice other than the steps themselves. The world service aspect of itself per se, and even such as like the clarity statement is not a world service approved kind of thing. It's just an expansion of what's already there. Is it in the traditions or is it in how it works? I don't really recall. I think it's highlighted in the traditions. Anywho, right, like the very last paragraph, if in a sense of saying, um, right, it is, and then we can say, oh, war stories. Well, I know that's absolutely touched on in how it works in AA. It says it right there. What we were like, how we are like now, and what we want to give. Or I know that wasn't verbatim, but that's where it says it at, right? In a general way, we share what we were like, how we are now, and what we want to do about our problem, right? That was more verbatim, and yet that's where it highlights general war, no war stories, right? you know. But sometimes we get so in our head about life that we forget to not complicate it. We forget that we're not absolutely understanding that, anarchy, destroying everything because we're in fear and don't understand anything. We're just angry and angry and angry, and we are resentful, and all we want to do is punish, 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 right? But really, we're just complicating it. We truly are. It's so simple. It's so simple. You can practice these principles in all your affairs. From the simplistic aspect of anonymity, right? Oh, so it's not just about your name, right? It's to do it just because you're doing it. And you might not have time to explain why you're doing it because you're at work and you need to do it. You don't have time. You're eating today because you're doing something for somebody else. Do it their way. It doesn't matter if they're doing it the wrong way, right? Oh, they don't have a recycling program. Oh, okay, so on your own personal time, do you have a bidet? Oh, so you're basically then costing the city and all these resources, right, to get toilet paper. Oh, and then you have those wipes that are flushable, but they're flushable, but then they don't break down. So now you're clogging up the sewer system, and now you're costing the city everything, right? I love bidets, and I get it. It is the way to have a bidet because it makes my day. And yet, simply to say, um, you know, it is really kind of silly that we, those that don't use bidets, or like when I go out, it's challenging for me to go to the bathroom because they don't have a bidet. It's like, oh, now I got to use toilet paper. Oh no. Urgh. Right? It's true, but it's like the same thing as, oh, I'm never going outside because I might sweat. And just like it's another funny thing, of I'm only gonna brush my teeth one time because that's isn't that how it works? I'm gonna keep eating because you know, but I'm gonna brush my teeth one time and I'm good to go for the rest of my life. It's like what? That makes me think too. One time, you know, when they were staff or whatever it was, they were like, "Oh man, Craig, everybody really loves that you clean. I hear that all the time. I just want to let you know that, right? That's cool." And then when, um, now we're at, doing our, you know, uh, basically in a sense service commitment, volunteer work slash getting a stipend, right? Working off the contract in a sense of saying, or paying our way in a way of saying, putting it forth effort because life is not free. There's nothing about that. You already put the work into somehow, and oh, here's a free thing. It's not free. You put the work in. It's just life giving you back what you gave out, basically. And simply to say so, um, there's points to where they're like, I was like, this needs to be cleaned, right? They're like, why? We're not going to be here more than this time, and it's just wood. It's like, oh, so you're telling me basically that you brush your teeth one time, and then you're good to go for the rest of your life? It needs to be cleaned. It looks nasty. Why do you want that? It's just like, there's so many points. And then that brings me to a personal level. Like, we have an outside meeting area for this in-house thing. Oh, okay. And so, there's points where there's a box, right? It's always about being fully self-supporting. Tradition 7, right? Oh, yeah, it's probably more commonly known as a basket thing and an economic exchange of paying the bills or whatever the fridge it may be. I'm just saying. Yet, I'm only there to do the meeting, like, it's, like, once a week, more or less, right? But every time, as it seems at this point, and I'm attempting to learn the lesson of acceptance and all these things and some clarity because I can go and just let me reprint everything and never go into that box again. Yet then, what was the inspiration for me to do that box? Oh, because I've went through my experience of this meeting material is horrible. It truly is, and I got resentful. I was like, can we reprint these things? Can we reprint them? Because this is horrible. Even my fourth step inventory, that piece of paper made it on that inventory because it was like, you gave me something that's horrible. Like, it was like printed in a way that like half the words showed up, basically, in a simple way of saying. And so it was like, this is what I have to work with. And so what was I doing? I was shooting the messenger, basically. And yet, so I get that value. I get the value of, oh, you just got started in recovery. Okay, you might be here for bed. Okay, well, that's you. I can't God shame you. You know, you want it when you want it. And even if you wanted it before, it's up to you. It really, really is. Those points to where you're supposed to always carry a message. If you're in a strong, active part of your recovery, go carry a message to the bar. Go hang out with somebody that's using. If your intent is to go to karaoke at the bar, that's great. If your intent is just to hang out with them, that's great. That's really what it is. You're always supposed to carry a message, like I just said, and I'll read it again. And yes, it says groups, but it doesn't matter in a sense of saying, let's not condemn the message here, right? So groups can't refuse an addict membership. So what does that mean? You just have to have the desire to change your ways, right? Okay, and then it continues to read as, but sometimes our actions are or attitudes push people out. Oh, right, right. So we're practicing personality opposed to principles, right? We're doing promotion rather than attraction, right? And so what can I do? That's really what it comes down to. What can I do? Yes, I can print out a sign that says, "Why have you not left this better?" I know there's a point where um, what is it? Somebody that does an H&I commitment kind of thing, hospitals and institutions. They quite literally say, "Well, we are just a fellowship of people, right? A group of men," or they say men, but whatever. This points to that word, men. Uh, they specifically say, "Oh, we leave it better than we found it. We do all these great things." Oh, so after you're done chairing that meeting, where essentially you just talk the whole time, and then you don't give anybody else a chance to actually talk and share. That's just pretty much a speaker meeting in that sense, right? Of how they do it, because there's points to the simple aspect of itself to simply say, right, that I've seen them just leave the meeting material on the table, right? And this goes back to the whole box being crazy every time I get back to it. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh. And so what can I what can I do about it? Can I print a sign? Yeah, I can. Can I print a page for every page basically that's in there? Absolutely, I can. And yet, am I controlling too much? Where's my level of acceptance? What can I really do about this? Okay, so I can print my own things and never go into that box. But then I'm forgetting why I did that in the first place, right? It's always about Tradition 7. I'm just saying. Okay, so even, there's points to where that box has, things for the book of the reflection, like a pencil container, because, there's poop heads out there that don't know how to respect anything at that point in their life and don't really value things of how somebody else does. It's true. And just like that group that goes and does the H&I commitment, there's points. It's not that, so anywho. So, the point being here is, can I print off my own book thing? Yeah, and bring it? Yeah. And just reorganize all that? Yeah, I can. And that might be what I do. And print up a sign? Absolutely. Because the last time I went into that box, what is going on? What are we making? A sandwich? It's like, why is everything just thrown in there? That's basically what it is. It's not nice. It's crazy. Now there's no markers for the whiteboard. It's like, what are we doing in life? Right? And so I admit that I'm powerless over that thing, and it's making my life unmanageable. Oh my God. And so I come to believe in a power greater than myself. And then I make a decision. Because my inventory is this. What's my part? Then I admit I'm doing it now. Step 5. Then I'm going to become humble, right? To get out of the problem, which is my thinking, the way I'm looking at it. Woe is me, why is me, right? Let me learn the lesson, because that's just a teacher, it's a lesson. I'm going to have to learn it eventually, because I'm energy, right? And so, okay. So then, after I became humble, right, step 6, I'm going to have step 7 kick in, ask. And then step 8, everybody, which is, in a sense of itself, it seems to be me. per se, and everybody else that is affected by the past actions of somebody's unwillingness to just take 5 seconds or whatever it is, right? If it's put together, to keep it together, right? And then in the sense of itself, what is it? What would be next? Oh, make amends to such people, right? What actions can I do, right? Okay, so step 10, let me continue to keep on making great things happen, because sometimes no one else is going to save me, and I just got to do it, because what's happening right now, all the 7 tradition effort that I done is going to go out the door, because I can just take all those things. I bought them. So, anywho, I'm just saying. But then, is that carrying a message? Is that really doing what I can do? Is that, am I being so self-seeking at that point? Am I so hurt? I'm angry. Yes. But it comes down to the simple fact of, okay, so, well, if I'm wrong, probably admit it, but let me continue to make progress. Okay, step 11. Now I've come to all these things. I reflected. I didn't just make a permanent decision from a temporary thing, right? Of, now let me try, right? And I always feel better after I share, because I do. Anywho. So I'm just saying, like, there's points where even it doesn't even have a limitation of anger. I'm not exempt from anger when I go and recover, because that's that. Now there's this new thing I get to deal with, right? As it says in, like NA or whatever it is, you don't, you know, it doesn't eliminate all problems, right? I think this is like in the traditions. There's levels of communication, all these things, right? But the point is that, did I use today? Did I, or in any way, shape, or form? Maybe, but I didn't actually. I was only saying that maybe thing when I was posing as a question to somebody else. Hey, for real. And yet, thank you. Silliness. I know, I get it. To simply saying, it's okay to be hurt. It is. It's okay to just be okay. Hurt people hurt people. I mean, that's not anything new. But unhurt people unhurt people. So who do you want to be? Hurt? Okay? Or unhurt? It's up to you. It's all the same. Really, it is. So, it's time to give time. It's time to live life on life's terms. It's time to let go and let God. Oh my goodness. All the above. So, thank you, God of my understanding, for being in my life. Thank you for being part of my recovery as well. And always remember, it's always about showing up into your life, finding a way, making lemons into a lemonade stand, or just making lemonade out of lemonade. Sometimes it's just that simple, right? Time to get good for you, right? So you're being good for others. And simply to say, your shoes always fit just right. You do deserve to take up space, and always recall, how will you be you today and show the way? Now I love you. Have a great day.